right, we will begin with our invocation prayers. So, hello. So, I'm going to keep it here, and if anyone wants to scroll, they have to come back here. Here you go. I love how you pinned his, maybe the one I donated for Jay Marshall. Om Dhyana Timirandasya Dhyana Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Sabhidamena Bhutale Shine. So we had a very nice class yesterday from Parth Prabhu. That's very good. I'm very happy. I'm sorry I don't have slides and all kinds of things like this to show you. But that was very nice. I really was very much appreciating, especially the breakdown of the chapter. I don't know if you broke it down yourself like that. That'd be very nice. Or if you also got that information from somewhere. But regardless, it was very nice to see the breakdown of the first chapter and what was going on, and so on. So very many things to appreciate. I'm very happy that you guys are going to be giving classes. So this is very good thing. Not all of you guys, the initiated devotees or the prospective initiated devotees, will be giving classes, and Piyush, because Piyush has lived here for over a year. But everyone else just kind of hang tight and learn. Everyone should learn, actually. But you also, part of your learning is now also how to present, to share what you learn. So that's kirtan. So very happy to be with you guys. You know what? I don't like wearing a belly shirt, so I'm going to at least just do that, so I'm better. All right. Today's title is Who's the Doer Anyway? We were talking about how Arjuna lost his power and he's having the realization that all of the things that he did with his wonderful abilities weren't on his own merit at all. And it was realized only after Krishna had left this world that, what once I was empowered to do, now I can't do even a fraction of what I once could do. I could barely hold myself together. We were the boys. We're doing this. What is it? Shloka course, and this week's is Pitaham Asya Jagato, which means I am the father of this universe. Mata Datta Pitamaha. I'm the mother, I am the supporter, and I'm also the grandfather, the grandsire. And he says, Vedyam Pavitram. Vedyam is, I'm that which is to be known. Pavitram Omkara, and I am the primordial sound of all the mantras, Om. And then he says, Riksama Yajur Evacha. So he's saying, I'm the Rig, the Sama, the Yajur, Vedas certainly as well. So Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, he actually says, that's one of many, many verses of Krishna illuminating all of his opulences. And then ultimately, all of us, and we're going to actually learn this tomorrow for Balaram Purnima, we're actually all expansions of one of Krishna's energies. Krishna, or Balaram, is actually one of the first expansions of Krishna's energy. And we are actually all expansions, all the living entities. The jivas are expansions of Balaram, actually. That's our position. But we're binangshas, we're separated parts of God. Why? What's the purpose? Why would the Lord separate certain parts? Does anyone know what the conclusion? Yes, in one sense, half portion of us, like a quarter portion, but there's many separated parts. The vimuktas who are not rascals are also separated parts. But what's the point of separation? Yes, to experience relationship, actually experience bhakti or love, devotion.
Where's the fun if you're always by yourself?
Yeah, there's no. If Krishna just kept everything alone, there would be no lila. There would be no activities or experience of life. So the separate is good, actually, but there's also we're Beda Prakash. We're also one with. There's a connection between all of us, and so the connection is that Krishna is the energetic and we're the energy, and you cannot have energy without the energetic. You cannot have electricity in the home without a source of electricity in the generation station. So the power grid, and what's causing the electricity, the generating of the electricity. So like that, Krishna is the power station. He's the real doer, actually. And if we're wise, we realize this and participate with his will. Understand what is Krishna's will, and then you do that. So the wise, this is disgusting, by the way. I'm peeling, I'm like shedding my skin. But the wise, they understand what does Krishna want, and I will do that. And what does Krishna not recommend? He gives us free will, and we can try and counter it, but we'll get punished. And we do, all the time. Every time you stub your toe, you bump your head, or this, that, and the other thing is going on. It's a reaction to some sort of karma. It's just knock, knock, wake up, pay attention. So, just be, it doesn't have to be so bad, but it's also, we've done so many interesting things already in this lifetime, adharmic, improper things. What's to speak of what we did when we don't remember in countless lifetimes? Actually, if we're infinite and we haven't been liberated yet, which we haven't, or we wouldn't be here in a position of suffering, that means we've done, and had infinite lifetimes, we've done every type of bad thing you could ever imagine. Every type of bad thing you could ever imagine, you somehow or other you've done that. Because you think about it, it's infinite, so infinite possibilities, and you haven't been liberated yet, meaning you haven't fully. But even maybe the liberated souls, who knows how long they've been liberated, but everyone in an eternal scope, you've done every type of bad thing. So who, you can't even know. Yes.
Does an eternally liberated soul remember their past lives? I know they don't
No,
remember
no.
from
Not even like Arjuna, who's an eternally liberated soul. You know, Krishna says, I remember all of my past lives, but you don't remember any of them. Actually, in Vrindavan, even Krishna doesn't even remember who he is. You know, so there's... but no, if you have full knowledge of all the Aishwarya, it will ruin the experience. Like, they can't even know Krishna's God in Vrindavan. If they know Krishna's God, it'll actually like ruin the experience. There are some who understand Krishna's full Aishwarya in Vaikuntha. There may be some who may even remember all their past lives. You know, Trikalagya, you know, they can see past, present, and future. But not... in the highest realms, there's a divine forgetfulness that actually we're interested in. Because you don't... like if you just become like a saint like Narada Muni or a great sage and you can have all these memories, some portion they do remember like that. But you're kind of barred from like the really sweet dealings with Krishna. But Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and all the Vrajavasis, they get all these sweet dealings with Krishna because they're not so much interested in themselves or even Krishna's Aishwarya. They're just interested in the sweetness of the here and now of Krishna. But there is a good portion of liberated beings, especially those who haven't gone into, like, you know, deep into the rasas yet. You know, they actually will, many will actually remember. They'll be Trikalagya, they'll have knowledge of past, present, and future, like Narada Muni and many great sages, and things like that. But even Arjuna, who's even higher than Narada Muni in scope, he doesn't remember past lives. And what's to speak of even higher than that, you know, like Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the Vrajavasis, they don't remember past lives because it's not favorable to their relationship with Krishna. Yeah, there would have been no Bhagavad Gita, there would have been no even war or anything. No one would have been participating in any leelas, you know, because everyone would just be like Narada Muni and just be like, you know, totally transcendental to practically all activities. But Narada Muni, he is very interested in seeing Krishna's astounding pastimes. So, but if everyone was like Narada Muni, then we couldn't have astounding pastimes because it's taking all kinds of different personalities. So anyway, that's a very good question. What was I saying right before that, though? Anyone remember? I don't remember. So anyway, it's not that important.
You started with how we don't know the past lives.
Yeah. Oh, we don't know quite what we've done. So.
infinite amount of sins.
Yeah, infinite amount of sins that we've done. So actually, we should be very kind of fearful of what's the future holds for us. Actually, like if I've done infinite amount of sins, and who knows how long they'll take to fructify. I'll give you an example. Dhritarashtra had to lose 100 sons, and in order to get the merit to even have 100 sons, it took Dhritarashtra 100 births. And then he got 100 sons. Why did he have to lose 100 sons? Krishna explained to him that when he was a hunter 100 births ago, he had killed 100 birds in their nest. And and it was an improper killing of birds, and by that, the bird that he tormented, the mother or the father bird, one of them, they wished upon Dhritarashtra that you also lose 100 sons. So that had to come to fruition. But in order to have 100 sons, having a son is actually apparently a great benediction. You have to earn to have a son. So in order to have 100 sons, it took him many lifetimes to accrue that. And then like that, he had to lose them all at once. So we have no idea what's waiting for us, even in this lifetime, what's to speak of many lifetimes. So we should be very fearful of continuing to participate in the karmic system. So ultimately, though, if you understand who's doing everything and you participate in the divine pastimes of existence, you're freed from karma. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Prityaja, right? Abandon all dharma and surrender unto me. Mamekam Sharanam Braja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo, Sarva Papebhyo, all sins, Moksha Yishami Masuchaha. They will be liberated from all sins. So this really fearful condition, I've done every type of sin that one can imagine. I'm an eternal soul, and I've been here eternally, and I've only made it this far. And I'm still in the world of rascals. So that means I'm a rascal. And that means I have rascal karma waiting for me. So that means I'm screwed. Unless you take to a process where Krishna is saying, no, I'll take care of these things. You know, even we're circling any karma one may reap, even if one kills a priest. Circling Tulsi clears away with every step that one completes. Even by worshipping Krishna's servant, says Tulsi, she'll clear away your sins. So we worship Tulsi every morning. But if you say, oh wow, I have a get out of sin free card, so that means like if I perform sins, it's not a big deal. Like kind of a lot of maybe they didn't mean to. When I was growing up, you know, in the Christian church, and we like, oh well, Jesus he'll deliver you from your sins. So that means like, oh, it's not a big deal if I mess up then. You know, oh, we're all sinners. You know, but actually it is a big deal, and there's yes. So on the strength of chanting the holy names, if you sin, you get what's called namaparad, which while still chanting the holy name and being a sinner is much better than just being a sinner, you will be barred from any type of real, tangible, devotional, pleasure or experience. So you cannot do namaparad. You cannot do, oh well, I worship the Lord, so it doesn't matter. I can go and do this sinful activity. Maybe I want to, kill animals on the side, or eat killed animals on the side, or this, that, and the other thing. Yes.
On the flip side, if you only do good things for good karma,
Yes.
then doesn't that have an effect? Like you're not actually doing them for their own good?
Yes. So even good karma is bad karma. So what? Why? We're not interested in karma. One of the offenses to the holy names is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activity. Fruitive activity is karma. So continuing, chanting or any devotional practice for trying to get good results. So some people, for instance, might come to the temple and in the beginning be very interested in material desires. So Krishna is given material desires. If I worship Krishna, I'll get a good job. If I worship Krishna, I'll get a good wife. If I worship Krishna, I'll get good karma, good things that I want. In the beginning, that might be okay because they don't really know any better. But and it's better to go to Krishna in need than not go to Krishna at all. But ultimately, we're not interested in good karma. We pray, nadanam, no money, najanam, no popularity. These are all things you get. Nasundarim, no beautiful wife or partner. Kavitam, no adoration for my learning or scholarship. Kavi is like a poet. Kavitam, najanam nadanam nasundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. So, oh Jagadish, where's Jagadish? We're missing Jagadish. But oh Jagadish, kamaye, what do I really desire? Mama janmani janmanishware, birth after birth. Bhavatad bhaktira haituki tvaye. Let there be bhakti unto you. A haituki, unmotivated bhakti unto you. So this is what you're getting at. If you're doing these things motivated, then yes, this is actually namaparad, and it's the 8th offense to the namaparad. Considering the chanting of Hare Krishna to be like an auspicious ritualistic activity that's going to give you good karma. But this is not at all what we're interested in. So let there actually be unmotivated devotion unto you. We are praying every morning in Shikshastakam. So yes, this is a very good realization you've had.
So why is good karma bad karma?
Any karma is bad karma. Why? Because good karma, if you're in the system of karma, you are in like a material prison. So you're in like the rascal portion of material creation, meaning you're doing things for your own, what you think is your own self-interest, but it's not your self-interest at all. It's actually the illusory self. You're identifying with matter, with that which you are not, and you're trying to secure, you know, like somebody who is very interested in accruing wealth in a video game. Has nothing to do with you, but you're like, I used to do this. I used to play World of Warcraft, and I had to get all the best gear. I had to get all the best. I hadn't even like a little economy in the game. I was a miner. I was this, and you know, and I'm accruing all kinds of wealth, imaginary wealth in the game, you know, or I don't know. So many games have these things like that. But this is all kind of a game, and you think that you're the character Avani of this family and this lineage, and I got to get as much for Avani as possible. But you're not Avani, actually. You just think you're Avani, you know, due to our ignorance, actually. But if we actually understand who we really are, we don't play the game in the first place. We're not interested in playing this game. Like, oh, this game's not real. So it's not like, all right, well, I'm just gonna shut off the game. I'm gonna go jump off the bridge, and that's not how you shut off the game, actually. Because you'll just get respawned in another portion. You know what respawning is? You guys must have played video games? Okay. Does anyone who played video games? It's a common terminology. You'll get respawned somewhere else. But but actually, if you use your character in devotional service, and you take a certain quest in the game, that, okay, I'm going to serve the Lord quest, and you go through the process of serving the Lord, you'll be liberated from the game, and then you'll kind of get unplugged from the matrix, and then you'll get your real existence available to you. You ever see The Matrix? You know this movie? You've heard of this? It might be a little before your time. Maybe you've heard of this Matrix? It's a very popular movie. But the whole premise is that people are like plugged into some like virtual reality, and the worst part of it is they don't even know. But it's based on reality. We're plugged into some reality, thinking that we are something that we're not, and only the enlightened souls somehow get bursted with this realization, and then they unplug from the matrix. But they have to also go through, there's a certain quest to get out of the matrix. You know, what is in the movie, you know, to be like the chosen one, the one, or something like this. But the one who actually walks the spiritual path, they can be unplugged from the matrix. And Jesus is talking of this path and how narrow this path is. Very few will walk this path. So anyway, I don't want to get too much in it. We didn't even read anything yet. So anyhow, who's the real doer? What's really going on in reality is what you undersee. You understand that there's a controller here. We talk about the Paramatma. You know, there's an Atma, a soul of our soul. There's a controlling entity here. This we call Jagadish, the controller of the Jagat, of the universe. You know, so who is it? What's going on here? This whole process of discovering and loving and serving, this is bhakti. So we're in the discovery process. How to love, that will come later. First, discover. Discover who you are. Prabhupada was talking very nice yesterday about the process of self-realization. How the whole purpose of the human body, or it's back to the video game analogy, the human quest in this material world is self-realization. So self-realization is understanding, well, what actually are you? Oh, I'm not even a human being. This is a human avatar, but I'm really a soul who's been transplanted here due to, for whatever reason, I, got very attracted to certain things, and was attracted to this family, or just by karma, this was my arrangement, but this is not who I really am. So we're learning who we really are. And Arjuna's right now realizing who he really is, that even his whole identity as a warrior with great strength and with great ability, this is actually not who he was. This is not, I don't want to speak too boldly, because actually it is said that Arjuna is eternally that thing. But without Krishna, he is incomplete. He's nothing, actually. And similarly, all of us, without Krishna, we're incomplete, we're nothing. So we're going to learn right now these things. Yate jasanurpashirong hrimahan makartham.
Yate Yasa Nipasiro Nigrim An Makarta
Aryo nujastava gajayuta sattva virya.
Ayo Nujas Tatva Gajayut Sattva Vidya
Tena hrita pramathanatha makaya bhupa.
Tena Hita Pramata Natha Makaya Bhupa
Yanmochitastadanayan balimadvarete.
Yanmo Chita Tat Anayam Balim Adavarvete
Yat, whose tejasa, by influence. Nirpashirta anghrim, one whose feet are adored by the heads of kings. Ahan, killed. Maka artham, for the sacrifice. Arya, respectable. Anuja, younger brother. Tava, your. Gaja ayuta, 10,000 elephants. Sattva virya, powerful existence. Tena, by him. Arita, collected. Pramathana, the lord of the ghosts. Mahabhairav, Makaya, for sacrifice. Bhupa, kings. Yadmochita, by whom they were released. Tat anayan, all of them brought. Balim, taxes. Advare, presented. Te, your. Translation: your respectable younger brother who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairav Yagya, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Purport: Jarasandha was a very, well, let's get the last verse we read. Because he was near me, Arjuna was speaking, it was possible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradev, along with his demigod associates, and thus enable the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest. And only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from the blazing Khandava forest. And thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasuya Yagya and paid you tributes. So he's talking about the wonderful pastimes that he was able to perform because of Krishna's appearance there. And now he's saying, your respectable younger brother who possessed the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings have been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairav Yagya, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty. Purport: Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadrath, was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son, although he married 2 daughters of the king of Kashi. Being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the 2 queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest he was blessed by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him 1 mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the ripe time approached, the queens delivered 1 child in 2 parts, 1 from each of the queens' wombs. The 2 parts were thrown in the forest where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the 2 parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with the nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarasandha was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachiti. The saint by whose benedictions the queen bore the child was called Chandra Koshika, who foretold of the child before his father Brihadra. It's one of the things, a lot of times if one wants to get a son, this happens in at least Vedic histories and canon, especially when Brahmins were very empowered and they can do so many wonderful things. So sages might say, they might worship the Lord, and with the potency of the worship, the Lord entering this, it's actually prasadam, and that prasadam is given. And by, I think the mango was supposed to be eaten by 1 queen, but I think the king got a little greedy, and he said, oh, well, I can have 2 sons if I break it. So, by the Lord's arrangement and the greed due to that thought, one part was born one way, one part was born another way from the two queens, and they're like, well, this is useless. You can't have parts of a baby. So they kind of throw it into the forest. They said, oh, that was a useless endeavor. But because it was the Lord's potency was in that prasadam, they were able to be joined together. And actually a great demon came, Jarasandha, who's also part of the Lord's Leela. The demons also have their part. Without the demons challenging the Lord in his Leela, it doesn't make for a very interesting thing. There's no great drama, especially in the material world, without like a great like kind of villain, you know. So even right now, you know.
People don't take this argument very well.
What's that?
People don't take this argument very well. Oh,
Yes.
the Lord is like this. He's a maniac because he's doing that.
Yeah. Well, this is a symptom of atheism, because in atheism, they think that one's pleasure is the meaning of life, one's hedonistic pleasure. So anything that challenges hedonistic pleasure, namely suffering, is bad, is immoral. So this is like the atheistic kind of mentality.
Yeah, because
And-
when they see the suffering, they say why he allows.
Yes, why would he allow this immoral suffering? Not realizing that if you believe in a God and that God puts suffering for a just reason and that you're immoral and the suffering is for your benefit to teach you to become moral, then it's a different game. And then, oh, God is just. Avani.
Why is it beneficial if you don't know what you did that was bad?
Well, because if you knew every single thing that you did, one, it would be very painful to know every single horrible thing you've ever done. And two, if with all of that knowledge given to you, you wouldn't really have free will. You would have, so much realization. If you saw karma acting so concisely, like, oh, I did this and I got this result and this. If you saw all of that from the wicked position, it wouldn't give you the free will to join the process. You'd almost feel forced to do it. So due to free will, the Lord has to create such a circumstance that you can willingly choose, should I be moral or should I be immoral? But if you fully know the ramifications of everything, you'll always just choose morality, and then there will, what you might say, well, why isn't that? Why wouldn't the Lord arrange that like that? Then practically speaking, the Lord would only arrange for liberated beings, and everyone would just have a liberated existence. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? I actually don't know. It actually sounds quite nice, but I do know.
Able to handle the suffering guilt of
Yeah.
life for about 100 years.
Yeah, but there is also, I should say, there's certain lila that can only be done in the material world. Like any fighting, no fighting would ever happens in the spiritual world. There's no such thing as fighting in the spiritual world. You have to come to the material world. That's why Jaya and Vijay had to fall and become demons in this world in order for the Lord to get a good fight. So the material world has its function, but we're on you could say the unlucky end of the stick right now. You had Ben and Piyush, you both had something.
But cursing and getting angry happens in the spiritual world.
No.
But cursing happens. That's why Jay and Vijay came down, na?
It didn't happen in the material world,
No,
in
in the spiritual
Vaikuntha.
world,
It
yeah.
didn't happen in the spiritual world.
Just outside.
It was just outside. The Kumaras, they had gone and they'd seen the spiritual world, but they didn't actually get to enter the spiritual world. And Jai and Vijay, they were in the spiritual world, but they were
So when you talk about spiritual is back to you are specifically speaking because Indra get cursed and everyone get cursed. So
what's that? No, these are not spiritual world though. That's the
We're
heavenly
just talking
plane.
about Vaikuntha then. Golok Vrindavan there.
No. Vaikuntha, no one falls from Vaikuntha. Once you actually enter Vaikuntha, no one falls. The Kumaras never entered Vaikuntha. They were able to see it due to their jnana, their great jnana, but they weren't able to enter, and the last snare of Maya was there where they were saying, no, you can't come, and then they got angry. And that still material quality of getting angry caused them to actually make an offense to the devotees, Jai and Vijay. Now Jai and Vijay, you could say, well, how would they forbid the Kumaras to come and enter? Many our acharyas, they ask like this, well, how could they overcome by ignorance in Vaikuntha? So what actually happened with them is that a a servant, they're great servants of the Lord, and a servant always understands the desires of the master. And so the master, who is Vishnu, he had the desire to have like a good fight. Like a good, like just like a warrior might get in a spar. Like some of you guys like to play chess. Maybe you don't want to necessarily, go and really destroy the other person's family and kingdom or something like that. But you're like, you know what, I'll have a good game of chess. So you might have a desire for a good game of chess. At the end of the day, no one will get hurt. So the Jai and Vijay realized that, and so they because they're very adept, they knew, okay, there has to be some circumstance from which we can provide the Lord with this. So they perform the pastime of insulting the Kumaras. They fall down. Why? So the Lord can come into the material world and fight them. Because only the Lord doesn't want to fight insignificant living entities. He wants to fight the best of the best. The best of the best are, of course, devotees. So the devotees had to come to the material world and really give the Lord a good fight. So these are all pastimes. Anyone who's watching online, like, what the hell are you talking about? These are pastimes from the Srimad Bhagavatam. But you should know that you don't fall from Vaikuntha unless it's just for service, which Jai and Vijay fell for service. But it wasn't really falling. They're coming and doing a special mission for the Lord. So even the greatest of demons, in order to be such a topmost demon, you probably have to be some great devotee at some point in order to take such a position. To personally fight with the Lord.
The higher you are, the greater the fall.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if
Because
it's...
the more you know God and the more you create offense near that, the more below you fall.
It could be, but at the same time, in Jai and Vijay's case, it was not that. They actually are pure devotees. Once you become into Vaikuntha, you're transcendental to the modes of nature, meaning you cannot fall into material ignorance, meaning you cannot actually insult the Lord from that position. So what they did, like I said, it was service. But the Kumaras, who weren't actually devotees of the Lord yet, they were in great impersonal jnanis. But by touching, actually it said, by smelling the tulsi offered to the Lord in Vaikuntha, they actually became devotees. So the whole thing was a great, and they actually realized, by them becoming devotees, they realized the error of their cursing, Jai and Vijay, and cursing associates of the Lord, and they became very repentant for that actually. But because they weren't devotees first, they didn't have that realization. And then after they became devotees from smelling the tulsi offered, then they realized, oh, what have I done? But anyway, it was all the Lord's arrangement, so pastimes can happen here. But anyhow, these things are, how can these things happen? Ben, did you have your thing that you wanted to talk about?
I don't have time. That opened this can of worms. It's going to be a whole discussion.
Okay,
Perhaps
good.
some other time maybe.
Okay. So since he possessed demoniac qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravan was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and so also King Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairav Shiva, and by his military power he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairav. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairav, or Kala Bhairav. In the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha, Jarasandha was a relative of Kanksha, the maternal uncle of Krishna. And therefore, after Kanksha's death, King Jarasandha became a great enemy of Krishna. And there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhim, and Arjuna together went to Jarasandha in the dress of poor Brahmins and begged charity from King Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any Brahmin, and he performed many sacrifices also, yet he was not on a par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhim, and Arjuna asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhima only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhima and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. It was like 28 days. Bhima became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasanda's being joined together as an infant, and thus Bhima dissected him again and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairava were thus released by Bhima. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthira. So kind of just to give you a little context, Jarasandha was practically unstoppable. Even though Krishna defeated him 17 times, but no ordinary person would be able to stop Jarasandha. But Krishna had a plan for Jarasandha, so he always let Jarasandha go, because Jarasandha would gather so many demonic forces and he would bring them all to Krishna. Krishna and the Yadavas would slay them, and then Jarasandha would go home defeated. So he actually cleared out so many demons in the world this way. And then at one point, Jarasandha really wanted to defeat Krishna, and Krishna said, fine, I'll let you defeat me. So one time at the creation of Dwarka, Krishna moved all the Mathuravasis to Dwarka, and he ran away from Jarasandha, like what would normally be considered like cowardly.
Ranchor.
Yes, Ranchor. He was the one who's running from Jarasandha. And so he actually, by running from Jarasandha, Jarasandha became very proud, and he thinks, oh, what is this cowardly Krishna? And he forgot that Krishna smashed him in battle 17 times previously. So later on, they actually thought they killed Krishna by lighting the mountain on fire. But later on, Krishna eventually did want to kill Jarasandha, and he wanted to use Jarasandha for a plot, but he really wanted Bhima to kill Jarasandha. So what he did is him, Arjuna, and Bhima, they dressed up like Brahmins. They snuck into Jarasandha's kingdom, and they tricked Jarasandha, who'd always give to the Brahmins. And they said, okay, you'll give us anything that we ask. And they said, yes. He's like, we want to challenge you to a one-on-one duel. So Jarasandha said, you fool, I'll challenge anyone. But what did he do? He didn't actually... He said, you can take any one of us, Krishna, Arjuna, or Bhima. So Jarasandha looked them all over. He said, Krishna, well, you're a coward. You ran from me, so I'll never fight with you. You're a coward. And Arjuna, you're too small. But Bhima, you look nice and strong, so I'll fight with you. So they fought, and it was impossible to defeat Jarasandha for 28 days, as strong as Bhima was. But Krishna, he told of the... he gave a hint to Bhima by taking like a twig. So he snapped the twig in half. You ever saw a twig with like the two, what do they call, what is that called?
Fork.
Yeah, it's like the fork. It's like a fork of a twig. And so he snapped the two forks in half, and pretty much signaling to Bhima, take the fork of his legs and snap him in half. And he did just that. One time when got him in a wrestling position, he pinned down one leg, and he grabbed another leg, and he ripped as hard as he could, and he dissected him, split him, bifurcated him, split him right in half. And that's how Jarasandha was defeated.
That's how he also before Duryodhana as well.
What's that?
That's how he cued him for Duryodhana as well, where to hit him. Because Duryodhana has this groin area exposed, right? Because he was... you know how the
Yes.
The same way he told for Jarasandha.
Oh,
the
yes.
Same way he told for how to kill Duryodhana as well.
Yes. So Krishna knows all the intricacies. Jarasandha was weak on one spot where he was joined.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was like infinitely powerful. He was born of this this sanctified mango. But because they were joined by the demon in this spot, it was weak here. Similarly with Duryodhana had Gandhari's blessing to let any part of the body that she see be immortal, but Krishna tricked Duryodhana to not appear. Gandhari told Duryodhana to appear before her naked, but Krishna made Duryodhana feel very ashamed to do such a thing. And so Duryodhana put on a towel, like a gamcha. And so Duryodhana got Gandhari's blessing. If anyone's listening to this online, this is insane. What are these things? So anyway, if anyone... yes, if anyone actually... but because Duryodhana appeared to Gandhari in a towel, Gandhari's blessing, because she went blind for many years, voluntarily, so she built up a bunch of tapasya, or like yogic power. So when the first thing she saw, she would use all her austerity, would become like incredibly powerful. And she saw Duryodhana, but because he covered with the towel, then she didn't see the part under the towel, and that's where Bhima, that was the only way Bhima could kill him. So Krishna, just like as Pisha was saying, the only way that they could have ever defeated these enemies was through Krishna's wisdom. And because Krishna was their intimate friend, they can overcome all obstacles. So these are some pastimes. They're very nice pastimes. Yes, Davini.
Why did Jarasandha want Bhima to kill him?
Jarasandha did not want Bhima to kill him.
He gave the hint.
No. Krishna gave the hint. Krishna gave the hint. He did not, and he didn't. Only was a hint. He said something like, "Hey, Bhim," and he took a twig and he just split the twig.
Like Shah Rukh Khan's done in ending.
Because it would have been considered cheating if he said, no, he's joined in this way, He's Jarasandha, he was joined here, but he just gave the hint. So samely with Duryodhana when they were fighting, Krishna also, I forget the hint that he gave, but he also gave a hint, and he killed Duryodhana this way. So anyway, these are, when you have Krishna on your side, you can never, no matter what type of opposition, all kinds of, Krishna knows the way, the back way around everything. So yes, you cannot cheat. He's of all cheats, he is the greatest. Actually, this is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. He's also the greatest cheater. You'll never cheat Krishna. So we try to cheat Krishna often. I'll say, okay, I'll do some worship for you, Krishna, but when no one's looking, I'll do this thing. I like this. Krishna will have that very thing cheat you. Very much so. You'll see. So don't think that you can run one over on Krishna. He'll cheat you. He cheats us all the time by actually when we pray to him for material desires. We get those material desires and then they cheat us out of how we could really go deeper in our devotion to him. We'll realize what an idiot I was for praying for this thing. Even myself, there's so many material things I prayed for. And I see that now, look, all the things I'm praying for, they're now creating obstacles in me going, what I really want now is a deeper devotion, a spiritual elevation, things like this. And you'll see this will happen to you too. When you pray to Krishna for material things, he'll cheat you. And you say, okay, here you go. No problem. Like my Parth was talking about his PhD so much yesterday. And I'm sure he did some prayer. He was, yes, PhD. And he's now seeing, oh my God, this PhD, how this is also, is creating some obstacle probably in his life. But he still continues on with his duty. Like myself, I'm in family life, I have a house, I have all these things I have to manage and try and use in Krishna's service. But it's creating much obstacles where this simple life of bhajan that like our acharyas are illuminating, I cannot do them because I've been cheated, because I prayed for things that now I have to taste the fruits of the things I prayed for. So anyway, hopefully Krishna doesn't cheat you too much, but he may also cheat you. We'll do one more verse. Patnyastavadi makaklipta mahabhisheka Shlaghishta charu kabarankita vaisabhayam Sprishtang vikirya padayo patitashrumukya Yas tatstriyo kritahatesha vimukta keshaha Patnya of the wife, Tava, your, Adimaka, during the great sacrificial ceremony. Klipta, dressed, Maha Abhishek, greatly sanctified. Shlaghishta, thus glorified. Charu, beautiful. Kabaram, clustered hair. Kitavai, by the miscreants. Sabhayam, in the great assembly. Sprishtam, being caught. Vikirya, being loosened. Padayo, on the feet. Patita Ashrumukya, of the one who fell down with tears in the eyes. Yaha, he, tat, there, striya, wives, akrita became. Hata isha, bereft of husbands. Vimukta kesha, loosened hair. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants, who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. Purport. Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair which was sanctified in the ceremonial function of Rajasuya Yagya. But when she was lost in a bet, Dushasan touched her glorified hair to insult her. Draupadi then fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna decided that all the wives of Dushasana and company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, all the wives of the family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of the Kuru family became widows because of Dushasan's insulting a great devotee of the Lord. The Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant, because the Father tolerates even insults from the Son. Yes, I'm already seeing in my life. But he never tolerates insults upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. So forego, I think you have to get rid of? What is forego? Just, what does it mean? Forego. Omit or decline to take, or go without. So one has to go without all the results of pious acts and benedictions also. So if you insulted a great soul, if you insult a devotee, you're just like, man, you're ruining your life. You can't even imagine what you're doing to your life if you insult a devotee. So be very careful with the devotees. Have friendship with the devotees. There's a verse in Nectar of Instruction, how to deal with devotees. It's Krishneti yasya giritang manasadriyeta. Then it's Dikshasti chet pranati bis cha bhajantam isham shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindadi hridam ipsita sangalabdhya. No, Nindati shunyam hridam ipsita sangalabdhya. And what that means is for the devotees who are chanting Hare Krishna or chanting the names of the Lord. Hello, Abhiram and Sita. For the devotees who are chanting the names of the Lord, you should offer them your respect at all times. Anyone who's chanting the name of the Lord, you should offer your respect in the mind. So you're all respecting Abhiram. Right now, everyone should, you should respect anyone who's glorifying the Lord, even if they're a Christian, even if they're Muslim, or anything. Anyone who has faith in God and within the mind, you should have respect for them, but especially one who's chanting the name of Krishna. So then, after that, anyone who's taken initiation and has developed a life of worship to the Lord, you should always actually bow, or at least with the hands offer respects. With any devotee, every day in the morning we chant the Vanchakalpa prayers. This morning you guys didn't know because what we were doing, but I was bowing while chanting that, even to you guys. But you guys were just up, but you didn't know. But why? That's our kind of formal bowing to the devotees in the ashram, at least. But we should, every time we see a devotee, especially if not for some long time, if I see, if I was bowing to Madhav, every time I saw him, I would be bowing all day. So I come upstairs, oh, Madhav, he's initiated. I'd be bowing in Parth, oh my gosh. But if I don't see them, or if I'm going somewhere for some time, if we all bow to each other, this is very appropriate. And then even more so, Shushrushaya Bhajana Vigyam Ananya Manya. So we should practically serve. Hey, my man. Shushrushaya. So one who's Bhajana Vigyam, who's realized in Bhajan, and Ananya, they're unmixed, they're unmotivated in their bhakti, they're a pure devotee. Yes, stop distracting everyone.
This is your last verse.
Yes, that's right. Aviram is distracting everyone. But anyway, yes, you can also see him.
Stop distracting everyone. Everyone look at that baby.
Look at this cute little devotee. But anyhow, if someone is bhajana vigyam, they're realized in devotion, and then they're ananyam, they're pure. They're a pure devotee. You should shushrushaya. You should practically serve them. The chief thing, you should hear from them. You should hear from that devotee. And what's a symptom of that devotee? Anya nindati shunya, meaning they have no tendency to criticize anybody. No tendency to criticize. This is a pure devotee. In shunya hridam, in the heart, there's no tendency to criticize anyone. It's not like maybe they give some nice class, but then if you talk to them later on, then they just start criticizing someone. So if you find someone is criticizing others, you say, well, Prabhupada, he's criticizing, the Mayavadis and this and things like that. You're allowed to criticize two people. Two types of people. Those who blaspheme devotees and those who blaspheme the Lord himself. And this is who you'll find. A pure devotee will only criticize these two types. But otherwise, they do not criticize. You nasty. You spitting. Oh my God, that's so much. Anyhow, to such a person, this is favorable association, and we should always try to practically serve them. We should always try and be in their association and practically serve them. And maybe they'll tell you, well, okay, go start a temple in Syracuse. So this is actually a way I'm serving advanced devotees in my life, because they also want it to spread all over the world. So here we are, all over the world trying. So anyhow, that's it for today. Also, you might find, if you ever do insult a devotee, that thing that you insulted them is going to come back and slap you so hard. And like for instance, Dushasan, he had grabbed Draupadi's hair and caused her hair to fall from her pristine position, because she was a royal lady. She always wore her hair up nicely. And so he caused her hair to fall down, which is considered, it's not as proper for a lady to not, unless she's like a widow, or only in the company of her husband, for her hair to be down. So anyway, that was in Vedic culture. So Dushasan, he insulted Draupadi and caused her hair to be scattered in the midst of everyone. So Krishna, due to that, he caused Bhima to kill every one of Dushasan and his brothers and all of their wives as they're weeping on the battlefield, trying to pick up their dead husbands. All their hair fell down. So that very thing that he insulted her then happened even worse to him now as they're weeping for his death. So do not insult devotees. This is very, very bad. Every devotee, anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna, in the mind, at least some respect. I may not agree with what you're doing, but I respect you. And that's why we call each other Prabhu. That's what it means, master. I don't know if it's such a wonderful culture to call everyone Prabhu and not mean it, because oftentimes it's a yes Prabhu and not meaning. Prabhu means master. Like, you're my master. But do we actually feel that way about this person? Not most of the time, no. Yeah. But anyway, so we should find advanced devotees and never insult them, or these things could happen, in that which way you insult them, it will just come back to you so much worse. So do not do it. But anyhow, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Tomorrow is Balaram Purnima, very special day. We're going to have our festival. If I planned better, we would have moved Wednesday to Friday and had a Friday night program. I didn't plan good at all. Forgot about Balaram Purnima, and now we're going to have our festival in the morning, like maybe 7:45, and then we'll go to 9:30 or something. We'll go 10 minutes longer than we were going today. Tomorrow, very special day. It's recommended you guys try not to eat grains and beans on that day. It's recommended to fast from grains and beans, even fast in the morning. And you could take, for everyone who comes here, we'll serve out, but it may be good you pack to go and you take prasad at noon. That's often a good policy for when Vishnu Tattva appearance days. So much mercy when an appearance day of the Lord, Balaram Purnima is non-different than, say, the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev or the appearance day of Vamandev. These are non-different incarnations of Krishna with their own special package of mercy to give. So Baladev is the ultimate incarnation of service. And one of his services is to actually, he's like our grandsire. He's our ultimate like father. He's fathered all the jivas. So we have and also he comes to us in the form of Guru. The Guru is the representation of Balaram, Baladev. And you will not access Krishna without Balaram's mercy, actually. So, like this, tomorrow is a great day to celebrate. I don't know, maybe some of you are working, some of you have things to do. If you can be here in the morning and celebrate, wonderful. If not, we should try maybe later in the day go on a Harinam. Friday is a good day to do a Harinam. We should do something extra tomorrow for Balaram Purnima. So that's my recommendation. And we'll facilitate that best we can. But anyway, Haribol. Okay, Aviram, you're the showstopper. Maybe you should just start giving class. So.